All too often, I fear Prince Philip has had to listen to me speaking. Frequently, we have discussed my intended speech beforehand, and as you will imagine, his views have been expressed in a forthright manner. He is someone who doesn't take easily to compliments, but he has quite simply been my strength and stay all these years. And I and his whole family, and this and many other countries, owe him a debt greater than he would ever claim or we shall ever know.
Oh, yeah.
Your Majesty, Your Royal Highness, distinguished guests, pray silence for the Prime Minister.
Your Majesty, Your Royal Highness, distinguished guests, I am honoured to be your Prime Minister and to say to you today, ma'am, on behalf of the whole of the British nation, congratulations to you and Prince Philip on the occasion of your 50th wedding anniversary. You have our loyalty, our love, and our heartfelt thanks for all your years of devotion to us. Thank you. Actually, Your Majesty's closing words to me at Buckingham Palace on Tuesday at the end of our weekly session were, please don't be too effusive. Sorry, ma'am, but I'm from the Disraeli school of prime ministers in their relations with the monarch. And I can do it and praise you with feeling because the praise is genuine and justified. I am the 10th Prime Minister of Queen Elizabeth II's reign, so she is pretty much the measure of us by now. It is more than a little awesome for me to think that the same weekly audiences that I have were once enjoyed by Churchill and Macmillan, people who to me seem figures of history. But I know that I speak for the former Prime Ministers present here today, Sir Edward Heath, Lord Callaghan, Lady Thatcher and John Major, when I say how invaluable and pleasurable those weekly audiences are. And that is for two reasons. First, if she will forgive me, though she is the Queen and the essence of dignity, it is a dignity that is very much down to earth. Unstuffy, unfussy, indeed unfazed by anything, with a keen sense of humour and a mean ability for mimicry. There are only two people in the world, frankly, to whom a Prime Minister can say what he likes about his cabinet colleagues. One's the wife and the other's the Queen. It is to them, of course, that we can express the full extent of our affection. But the other reason Prime Ministers enjoy the audience is one I will confess to you freely that I didn't quite believe until I became Prime Minister. For reasons not simply to do with her experience, though of course that helps. She is an extraordinarily shrewd and perceptive observer of the world. Hers is advice worth having. At the time of the Commonwealth Heads of Government in Edinburgh recently, she helped it go well, she helped me through it, not just by her knowledge of the Commonwealth countries, but with her feel for the culture and for the spirit of the Commonwealth people. I believe that the work the Queen does in the Commonwealth is one of the great unsung stories of our time. She travels there incessantly, and as recently in India, her visits become the occasion of massive business and commercial success for Britain. They revere her as the head of the Commonwealth. The affection is clear and mutual. Indeed, when Fiji rejoined us this year, and their Prime Minister then addressed the heads of government, it was plain that a major motivation for Fiji was to be reunited with the Queen. You, ma'am, are a symbol of unity in a world of insecurity, of continuity in a world where nothing stays the same. In Britain, sometimes we don't appreciate just how many miles you travel up and down the land, the places you visit, the people you meet. It is hard work, but in each place and with each person, you bring pleasure and joy. For each one, a memory never forgotten. You and Prince Philip, for it is a partnership. He works in his own right across a huge range of charities and organisations, and he is also there by the Queen's side, her support and steadfast companion. Thank you, sir, for all you have done to make the Queen's reign a success. Of course, like any family, the Queen and Prince Philip have had their share of ups and downs, their share of tragedy and sorrow as well as joy. You spoke, ma'am, in 1992 of the annus horribilis you had endured. This year, too, the tragedy of the death of Diana, Princess of Wales, has put you and those closest to you through a terrible, terrible test. I know from the conversations we had during those days how deeply you felt those events for yourself, for Prince Charles, and the boys. I know, too, contrary to some of the hurtful things that were said at the time, how moved you were by the outpouring of grief which followed, as in the security and sanctity of your own home you were. You sought at all times, as a family, to help and do the best by the boys, and that is the way it should have been and was. I believe that for both you and Prince Philip, imperative keeps you going is a simple concept: duty. Duty leading to service. Despite your position, or perhaps because of it, it cannot always be easy. But you do it, the unenjoyable as well as the enjoyable, because it is your duty. I make a lot of this being a modern country, and I'm the youngest of the Prime Ministers that you have had. But contrary to myth, modernity and tradition can and do live happily together, because the best of modernity builds on the best of tradition.
Prince, on this day 50 years ago, Britain had just endured 6 years of war, emerging battered but victorious. While I was grappling in the ATS with the complexities of the combustion engine and learning to drive an ambulance with care. Today, Prime Minister, we accept your generous hospitality in a very different Britain. The Cold War is over and our country is at peace. The economy in your charge and which you inherited is soundly based and growing. And during these last 50 years, the mass media culture has transformed our lives in any number of ways, allowing us to learn more about our fellow human beings than in 1947 we would have thought possible. What a remarkable 50 years they have been for the world, for the Commonwealth, and for Britain. Think what we would have missed if we had never heard the Beatles or seen Margot Fonteyn dance, never have watched television, used a mobile phone, or surfed the net. Or, to be honest, listened to other people talking about surfing the net. We would never have heard someone speak from the moon, never have watched England win the World Cup, or Red Rum 3 Grand Nationals. We would never have heard that Everest had been scaled, DNA unravelled, the Channel Tunnel built, hip replacements become commonplace. Above all, speaking personally, we would never have known the joys of having children and grandchildren. As you say, Prime Minister, since I came to the throne in 1952, 10 Prime Ministers have served the British people and have come to see me each week at Buckingham Palace. The first, Winston Churchill, had charged with the cavalry at Omdurman. You, Prime Minister, were born in the year of my coronation. You have all had, however, one thing in common. Your advice to me has been invaluable, as has that from your counterparts, past and present, in the other countries of which I am Queen. I have listened carefully to it all. I say most sincerely that I could not have done my job without it. For I know that despite the huge constitutional difference between a hereditary monarchy and an elected government, in reality the gulf is not so wide. They are complementary institutions, each with its own role to play, and each in its different way exists only with the support and consent of the people. That consent, or the lack of it, is expressed for you, Prime Minister, through the ballot box. It is a tough, even brutal system, but at least the message is a clear one for all to read. For us, a royal family, however, the message is often harder to read, obscured as it can be by deference, rhetoric, or the conflicting currents of public opinion. But read it we must. I have done my best, with Prince Philip's constant love and help, to interpret it correctly through the years of our marriage and of my reign as your Queen. And we shall, as a family, try together to do so in the future. It often falls to the Prime Minister and the government of the day to be the bearer of messages sent from people to sovereign. Prime Minister, I know that you, like your predecessors, will always pass such messages, as you read them without fear or favour. I shall value that, and am grateful for your assurances of the loyalty and support of your government in years to come. I wish you wisdom and God's help in your determination that Britain should remain a country to be proud of. And as one working couple to another, Prince Philip and I hope that on the 29th of March 2030, you and your wife will be celebrating your own golden wedding. And talking of the future, I believe that there is an air of confidence in this country of ours just now. I pray that we, people, government and royal family, for we are one, can prove it to be justified, and that Britain will enter the next millennium glad, confident, and a truly united kingdom. This, too, is an opportunity for Prince Philip and me to offer, in the words of one of the most beautiful prayers in the English language, our humble and hearty thanks to all those in Britain and around the world who have welcomed us and sustained us and our family in the good times and the bad so unstintingly over many years. This has given us strength, most recently during the sad days after the tragedy of Diana's death. It is you, if I may now speak to all of you directly, who have seen us through and helped us to make our duty fun. We are deeply grateful to you, each and every one. Yesterday, I listened as Prince Philip spoke at the Guildhall, and I then proposed our host's health. Today, the roles are reversed. All too often, I fear Prince Philip has had to listen to me speaking. Frequently, we have discussed my intended speech beforehand, and as you will imagine, his views have been expressed in a forthright manner. He is someone who doesn't take easily to compliments, but he has quite simply been my strength and stay all these years. And I and his whole family, and this and many other countries, owe him a debt greater than he would ever claim or we shall ever know. Prime Minister, thank you for helping us to celebrate a very special day in our lives.
I ask you all to join us both in a toast to Prime Minister Mrs. Blair